Reaching out to where the ocean merges with the horizon, filling the sea for miles around, the great Allied Armada heads towards the North African coastline. Under the protection of 350 ships of the Royal Navy, tens of thousands of American and British bear down on Algeria and Morocco. Although Vichy and Axis planes offer no serious opposition, when enemy aircraft do approach the convoy, anti-aircraft guns give them such a warm reception that it's inviting destruction for them to press home their attack. Although slight bombing is carried out, the defense is altogether too hot for them. Under cover of approaching night, bombers and torpedo droppers venture out again. Here are fine impressions of the intense fire which is put up successfully to drive the raiders off. The night sky is seared by streams of tracers like red-hot confetti. Flames belch out of the German bomber as it dives into the sea. These pictures of the great expedition have been turned in by a score or more of official cameramen, among whom is Pathé's own man, Jock Gemmell. Their films bear out the contention that the big adventure stands out as a remarkable example of combined planning and performance by the United Nations. Packed into the vessels are the men and material selected for the execution of an audacious plan, which for many months has occupied the brains of Premier and President, Whitehall and Washington alike. This is the culmination of a strategic venture which shook the world. Aboard one of the troop ships, we see British troops at a final inspection as the ship cuts through the blue Mediterranean. A small but tough share of the work was done by our commandos. And as usual, it is the Royal Navy which showed us the heavy responsibility of shipping a small nation of men with their weapons, stores and equipment. The Fleet Air Arm has also a conspicuous role to play in this colossal project. From the word go, right up to the time when ships of the Armada began to assemble off Algiers, the Navy has never relaxed its vigilant watch. Even now their job is by no means finished. This is how Algiers looked to the American Rangers and our commandos as they prepared to land. The most important port in North Africa has never known such an influx of visitors. And they're coming in landing barges and other craft in their thousands to make sure that the French colonial empire does not go the same way as metropolitan France. Seldom has surprise in war been more completely achieved. While at a dozen or more places along the coast, Americans are already forging inland from the beaches, we see barge loads of Britons heading for the shore to match up with the rest of our First Army men Tunisia bound. Other ships anchored offshore come more well-equipped men. The perfect precision with which the occupying troops are delivered in such rapid succession bears testimony to the intimate understanding between all the services employed and between the two brother allies, or rather allied brothers, engaged. And brother, do those soldiers make good sailors. Most of these men will see action for the first time, but the thought of a smack of the Nazis around Tunisia is a pleasant prospect. It is splendid to think of the successes they have already achieved. Today, the North African coast is no longer in hostile hands. As Uncle Sam's boys go ashore, they carry old glory with them. These lads feel they're really at grips with the Axis, and they're going at it two-fisted. Trust the Yanks to make friends wherever they go, and trust their Jeep cars to go places and do things. Seen anything like this before? They're mustard. Key point in Algiers is Maison Blanche aerodrome, captured by American Rangers in a lightning attack, which allowed the defense no time to get going. It fell without a shot being fired. Allied aircraft were soon making good use of it. Meanwhile, at the docks, big liners are pouring in the main body of the Army of Occupation. Events are now progressing at such speed that little or no resistance is met with. The forts have been silenced, and the quays are filling with Allied troops. It becomes clear now how vast were the issues that hung upon the 8th Army's great offensive. If Montgomery had failed, this enormous Anglo-American enterprise might have been thrown completely out of gear. Success in Libya, therefore, was virtually the starting signal, which set in motion all the intricate machinery of the Eisenhower-Anderson combine. Algiers was in Allied hands within a few hours, and it was not long, as you'll see later, before the population seized hold of the occasion to demonstrate their anti-Axis feelings. With the vital communications of Algiers in Allied hands, it is reasonable to expect that a second front may be opened from the new bases we have obtained. We switch now to a township outside Oran. Some sniping is taking place in the streets. American Rangers reply with a few shots, after which they rush the building. A few hotheads are rounded up and the sniping incident fizzles out. Jumping ahead now to when an armistice was called for, we see General Nogues, the commanding general of French North Africa, with the commander of the Algerian district, arriving for the conference. In the streets, little groups of people quickly gather to give what help they can. The trams are overloaded with excited crowds, at last able to throw restraint overboard and give vent to their feelings. At the Hotel Angleterre, Italians who came in 1940 as an armistice commission following the fall of France are rounded up for internment. As a matter of fact, it was a former Pathé staff man with a detachment of American troops who made the capture. And how the crowd booed and hissed the Italians as they evacuated according to plan. Our plan. Jeering changes to cheering as Allied troops knock the Axe out of Axis.